First off, congratulations to 1-2 Kid for being correct in his prediction about Teofimo Lopez winning. Even though you said KO, he still won the fight at the end of the day. To you fanboys, I want you to really listen. Stop thinking about Teo and how much you're in love with him and listen to what I am saying. Now, with that being said, if anybody had to get the nod in this match, I had Teofimo Lopez getting the nod. I could see a 7-5 win or 115 to 113 on the scorecards, depending on how you score that second round. So I take no issues with Teo winning. That's right, fanboys. Listen good, because I'm going to say it again. I take no issues with Teo winning. What I take issues with is atrocious scorecards. Now, not only did I take issue with it, but numerous professional fighters saw not only the fight as a draw, but also called out the scorecards. So numerous fighters did that as well. Not only did fighters do it, but Bob Arum is trying to get Julie Letterman fired by the commission for having such a bad scorecard. This is his statement right here that you can read. Now, also, people might ask, well, Tony, because I got this in my comment section, why are you upset about the fight if the right guy won? Why are you upset? Because it doesn't matter that the right guy won. It doesn't matter if that's how you see it. At the end of the day, in no other sport does scoring like this happen. In football, you don't see them score a touchdown, get 6 points, kick the field goal, and get 2 points to have 8 total points. No, they make 7 points. Imagine in a football game if every time a team scored and kicked the field goal, they got 8 points. Even though they may have scored more touchdowns and made more field goals than the other team and would have won anyways, could you imagine if fans saw 8 points hit the scoreboard every time that other team scored? Could you imagine that? Or how about in baseball, where somebody hits a home run? They're the only one that runs around the bases, but they get 2 points for coming around the home plate instead of 1. Could you imagine that in any other sport? No. Only in boxing does scoring is allowed to be this bad. Only in boxing do you never see any flag happen whenever scorecards are bad. Why? Because I don't know what it is with this sport, but there's so many fanboys and fangirls who don't care about the score. They don't listen to the scorecards. All they see is a hand raised, and that's all they care about, that their person won. And that is the wrong answer. I understand that in boxing, there's a lot more dynamics that go into scoring it that the average consumer, so to say, would not know. That's fine. But maybe instead of being a fanboy or fangirl, you should listen to people who understand the sport and understand that maybe these people are correct. And maybe the scoring is wrong. And maybe if you really like the sport, you should learn how to score it so you can see the BS for yourself. So when it's your fighter that gets robbed, you know why and how they're getting robbed. That's the issue. Only in boxing do you see this happen, and these people are allowed to get away with it. This is the first time I've really seen anybody like Bob Arum going after a judge. And I think it should happen more often. In fact, in my comments section with somebody I was talking to, they made the statement that they believe that all judges should be ex-fighters. I don't have an issue with that. Maybe they should be ex-fighters. Maybe they should be somebody who's been in there on a world level that knows exactly what's going on. But if you're going to do that, you have to clarify what type of fighter. Are you going to do somebody with a deep amateur background? Or are you going to do somebody with a deep professional background? Because here's the thing. Just because somebody was a fighter doesn't really mean that they understand boxing or even really mean that they did much in boxing. For example, you have professional fighters who only have maybe 10 or 12 fights before they retire. And if you look at their record, they've only fought guys with losing records or who have never had fights at all. So you got fighters like that. You got people in the amateurs who have the same thing, who have fought people that have never fought people. You know, they might have 1 or 2 fights that they beat in the amateurs, but have all losses. So again, if you're going to do that, if you're going to transition over to people who have actually fought, they need to be people with deep amateur backgrounds that have beat people with 20 plus fights, beat people with 30 plus fights, beat people with winning records. If you go to the pros, you need to have people who have beat people with 20 plus wins, 15 plus wins, very little losses, people who are actually good at their sport and not just some run-of-the-mill person who's barely better than somebody who's a casual to the sport. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to go that route, there needs to be a standard of how to pick somebody in that route, because not just anybody whose fault would make a good cut. Now, again, when it comes to boxing, here's the thing. And all you Canelo fanboys, I want y'all to listen very well, because this is my argument for the draw. This is my argument for the second round. And then I'm not going to get too much into this because I don't want to take away from what Teofimo Lopez did. I don't want these bad scorecards to take away from his victory, okay? Again, I'm not against him winning. This is just my argument to the statement of why I believe it was a draw. And Canelo fanboys, like I said, listen real good, because if you disagree with me here, then Canelo should have multiple losses on his record, because I'm about to use y'all's argument against y'all if y'all are with Teo winning the second round. In boxing, power shots, clean, effective punches count for more than glancing blows or jabs, period. That is how a punch in professional boxing is scored. It's not like amateurs where if the white of the glove touches your face, your chest, your stomach, it counts, whether it glances or not. It's not on a punch-by-punch calculation. It's on clean, effective, and power punches count more than jabs. In that second round with Teo versus Loma, what I saw was punches that glanced. So they're scoring punches because they did touch, but they were glancing blows. I didn't see a solid punch land by Teo. I think Teo may have landed, recalling in my mind, somewhere in between 9 to 12 punches, okay? And in my mind, reliving the second round, I believe Teo probably landed about 9 to 12 glancing blows and maybe one solid punch out of all those punches. The rest of them looked like they barely nicked Lomachenko because of how he was moving. Now, on Lomo's side, I saw him land about 5 or 6 clean shots. I saw him hit him with a jab, a 1-2, and then towards the end of the round, I saw him catch Teo with a clean 3-piece combo that made his girl jump out of her seat. So that is why I gave the second round to Lomachenko, because of the clean, effective power shots that he landed on Teo, where Teo was just glancing him. Even though Teo was throwing more punches that round, you have to connect to score, okay? I understand Lomo's work rate was very low in the first 6 rounds. That's why I had him losing all the rounds but the second round. It doesn't matter how much you make somebody else miss. If you don't throw back, you don't win the round. There was only one fight in history where the guy won a round defensively, but that's not the norm, and it's never happened but one time. So the rule of thumb is, if a guy throws 1,000,000 punches at you and you dodge 1,000,000 punches, but you don't throw back, you lose the round. You lost it, because you at least have to make some type of offense yourself to sway the round, okay? So that is why I gave Teofimo Lopez round 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In the 12th round was his best round, to where he actually got off a bunch of clean shots on Lomachenko. Again, clean, effective punching is better than glancing blows. Power shots count for more than jabs. That is boxing, okay? Now you can get into ring generalship and all that, but all that comes secondary. All that stuff is secondary to punches landed. Punches landed, clean, effective punches landed, power punches landed is your number one criteria. Everything else comes secondary. What does that mean? That means if guys are within a 1 or 2 punch difference, then you look at different things to see who swayed it. That's when you go to other things. But the main gist of how you scored, clean, effective punches landed. Then you look at who landed more power shots. Are they close? Etc. Go down the line. With that being said, This is by no means hate to Teofimo Lopez, because I will say one last time for the fanboys who made it this far. I have no issues with Teo winning. I have no issues with somebody scoring it 7-5. But when you give him 11 rounds out of 12, I have a lot of issues. And that is what's wrong with the sport of boxing. That is why the sport of boxing is dying, because you have judges like that who stay in the sport, who don't know how to score. So even though in this case, maybe the right guy won, in the future, when that judge is on another fight, the next time, the wrong guy might win. That's why you need to weed them out. That's why you need to get rid of them. That's why it matters. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Dislike the video, give it a thumbs down. If you really like it, subscribe to the channel, because despite how many thumbs downs I got in my last video, my sub count went up. So hey, fanboys, if your thumbs downs cause me to get subs, keep throwing them thumbs downs.